Hi, it's Laura here from the Parks Trust in Milton Keynes. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own terrarium. A terrarium is a self-supporting ecosystem, so it's like creating a mini environment inside a glass jar. So things you're going to need to make your terrarium: you'll need a glass container. It could be one with a lid, big one like this. Today I'm going to use a smaller one like this. You could also use a milk bottle. It's just got a small opening at the top rather than completely enclosed. You're going to need some pebbles to put in the bottom of your terrarium for drainage. You're going to need some compost or soil, some natural things to put inside your terrarium that will continue to grow over time. So I've got some small little ferny leaves, I've got some moss, then I've also got here some feathers and pine cones just to decorate my terrarium with. I've collected some pebbles and shells and sand when I went to the beach last week. I'm also going to add to my terrarium, and if you want to, then you can also add some other trinkets and bits and pieces just to decorate. Other useful things to have: a spoon just to move things around inside, and some tweezers to position your items. It's a really good idea to plan your terrarium before you start building, because that means that you can think about whether you want to have a theme, so whether you want to create a fairy garden, a beach scene, or Jurassic Park. You can download a set of instructions from our website that look like this, and they will show you everything that you need and step by step what you need to do to build your terrarium. So once you've been out and collected all of your supplies, the first thing that you need to do is put your layer of stones or pebbles in the bottom, and as I say, they act as really good drainage. So just cover the bottom, and then for the next layer we're going to put our soil on top. Here, if you have got access to any activated charcoal, just a small layer of activated charcoal in here is also really good. It stops any fungi developing inside your terrarium, but it's not essential, so I'm just going to go straight ahead and add the soil. And thinking about the theme that you're going to have inside, you probably want to fill your pot about halfway with soil, but think about how tall the things are that you want to add above that. So next up I'm going to start thinking about positioning my items inside. And if we have a look at this one that I've made earlier, you can see here the layers of pebbles and then the soil, and then in this one I've added some sand, I've got some seashells, and I've used some of the small ferns to make some little palm trees. I've got a pine cone lent up here as a tree, and then I've added a little turtle toy inside just to make this one look like a beach. So think about what you want it to look like before you start putting your items inside. You can start to see here that there's water droplets on the side of this jar, and this is because your terrarium acts as an enclosed environment. It's got its own mini climate inside it. And this is because of the way that plants work and the way that plants live and breathe. So what happens is, through the process of photosynthesis, these plants will continue to grow inside your terrarium. So the sunlight comes onto the side of the glass and it heats up the glass, just like the Earth's atmosphere is heated up from the sun. So this is a bit like building a greenhouse for your plants. If you think about an aquarium as being like an environment for fish to live in and a climate for fish to live in, you're building a version of an aquarium but for plants, so they'd have their own mini environment in order to survive. So soil is in, and now I need to think about what I want to include. So I'm going to put a little bit of sand in here, just a little bit around the edge, and then going to start to lay my moss. I'm going to put some of these in as trees in the middle, so I'm creating a little forest here. Let's use some soil, some sand to hold that one in place. One more, I think. Let's try this one. forest. And then I've got some slightly smaller shells, so I might include those. Don't think I'm going to put any feathers in this one. This little pretty stone, I'm going to put that inside. And so the plants need the sunlight to go in so that photosynthesis can happen, but they also need a little bit of water just to kickstart the process. So if you think about the water cycle, we're going to add just a couple of sprays of water, just a few drops in there, and then we're going to seal the lid. And that's it, we leave it after that. So we find a sunny windowsill to pop our terrarium onto, and the sunlight will come in, it will heat up the glass, it will heat up the atmosphere in there, and then the plants will draw up the water and the moisture from the soil through a process called transpiration. And they'll use that water, and then usually it would evaporate away. Because we've sealed the lid, that water can't evaporate away, so it will go onto the side of the jar, and those water droplets will drip back down the side of the jar, back into the soil, where through transpiration they'll be sucked up again by the plants and the process can begin again. So we've got that cycle. So in here we've got our own mini climate, our own mini ecosystem, and those plants, that moss and those plants that we've put in here, should continue to survive for ages. So you can monitor your terrarium over time. You might want to keep a diary, you might want to take photographs of it every week, see what changes over time. Think about the weather, what impact that might have, how much sunlight your terrarium is going to get. You might need to move it round through the year, you might need to put it into different positions. What you do need to be careful of is making sure that it's not left anywhere where it will get too cold and where it might freeze, because once that happens, this process won't be able to continue quite so well. We'd love to see your terrariums once you've created them, so please make sure you tag us at the Parks Trust, and we'd like to see how creative you can get and what you can make. So we look forward to seeing your terrariums. Thanks very much, bye bye.